So, hello and welcome everyone, and in this video I'm going to play another set of 1K games for the ZX81 home computer from the 1980s. And as you can see, this pack is called 10 games, and there are also 10 1K games. And they came out, I think, even a bit earlier than other 1K games pack games that we played in the first video, but around the same time, so the difference doesn't really matter. And again, the hidden agenda on my end is to seek any inspiration for the next episode or evolution of my Captain on the Bridge game series. And again, a big shout out to the site zx81stuff.org.uk, which is a huge collection of ZX81 software, where I also got the cover and the instructions for the 10 games as well. So I put the link into the description and be sure to check out that site. So let's start with the first one, which is ominously called Klingons. So already loaded it, so running it, and here you are in space. And the goal is to ram the ships, so you can move with 5 and 8. So not to do what I did just and avoided things, but rather hit them. And M means mothership. The others are normal ships, and yeah, so that's the basic principle. So you don't fire weapons, you rather run into them deliberately. So a bit of an opposite of sort of common asteroids games or whatever, where you avoid things. And here I'm simply going for the higher scored ships. I have no idea whether this is the best strategy or the best strategy would rather be to hit as many normal ships as possible. It will end at some point. So I simply keep talking. And maybe the avoidance thing could be a sort of navigation mini game around avoiding asteroids or any other environmental hazards. So I don't think the simple firing approach would be sort of fitting for a Star Trek context. So yeah, but it also runs nice and smooth. So that's the other notable thing, because I think from the 1K game, the keyboard is still emulated very well to be terrible. So you see that I missed some motherships because I wanted to hit the keys, but apparently it didn't trigger. So that's a very well emulated. So we're getting to the end here, and then I'm going to get a high score. So what I think I was about to say is that this runs very smoothly. So that's another thing to be inspired by. So I think this shall suffice for the first inspiration. And let's move on to the next game, which is called Crash Landing. And unfortunately, I have to type the full names. So it's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but rather full names on the tape. This has a very interesting concept. So you're falling down and you don't see anything, you just see the stats. So you have fuel, you're falling down in your ship onto a planet. Here is the height, here is the time. And what you can do to reduce velocity is fire your engines. So if I'm pressing a key, then you see the fuel reducing and the velocity falling. And the idea is to land sort of gracefully, and that you have to stop at some point. And as with a proper gravity, the velocity, as you'll see, will increase substantially the further you fall and the higher your speed already is, and your fuel is of course limited. So I'm not doing anything at the moment. I'm simply letting the unseen ship fall down, because again, this is a 1K game, so no space for any fancy graphics, and I assume the calculations took some space, and to keep track of time and height, and to match this with the velocity. I already had a go again, so that I knew the basic principle. I'm not trying something that I hadn't done before. I was a bit conservative, but it worked out almost perfectly. But now I'm simply letting myself gain much more velocity than I had in the past, and I'm starting to brake at this point. So and you see how slowly the velocity is reducing. So maybe I started too late now. So I think I started at 100 to reduce velocity, but this is rather tricky to get a feel of. So let's see. And even if this was too late, then at least the time isn't that long. Um, that it takes to fall to the death, because the velocity increases when I'm not firing the engine by a huge amount, and when I'm firing the engine, it only reduces in increments of 2. And yeah, it looks like this was too late, but again, you see the basic principle. So when I stopped at 100, or when I started firing the engine at 100 velocity, then I always had to go back and forth and slow the descent. Whereas this now, yeah, that probably doesn't work out. And you see the fuel reducing. So that's the basic principle. I'm not entirely sure this is, and this abstraction level, something useful. And also, what do you do in terms of failure when you crash with 100, whatever that is, meter per second into the ground? Yeah, so probably 120 or 25 would be a more sensible time to start firing the engine and not wait till 150. So this lives, of course, of the discrepancy between, yeah, good, not even a game over, or you died, or so congratulations. I guess the calculations took all the space. But yeah, so at least a very interesting and I think unique approach for a 1K game. So next is Simon Says, which I think almost everybody will know. So it uses colors, and then you press the first letter of the game. So green, so now I have to press G, and then it appears again. And now we have green and red. So I press G and press R and hope that it triggers. So what this suffers from is you have no idea whether your key actually works. So green, red, yellow. And so I think I got a game over the first time I tried this when one keystroke wasn't registered. So red, yellow, yellow, and that's it. Yeah, otherwise nothing much to say here. I think in terms of inspiration, a functional Simon Says thing, and now I'm pressing something else and leave it at that. So not going again. So next is called Artist, which isn't a game but a sketching tool. So a bit like the screen editor that I developed, but here you just navigate. So you have actually a blinking cursor that could be useful in an innovation. You move about with keys 1 to 8. With 9, you activate the brush or the stencil or whatever you call that. So that you can, when you navigate now, you actually draw, and with 0, then the cursor starts blinking and you move to a different spot. So this is actually very nicely usable. And there are even functions to print this or to send the current screen to a printer. I haven't tested this, but I trust that this will work. So that's all that's to it. So I think the only inspiration here is this blinking cursor instead of the location for my own screen editor that I could try implementing. That it's also a bit more responsive, but I think this will also then happen to my screen editor when I take out all these routines that keep track of printing the current position. So next game is UFO. At least not that much to type. So it's a bit like that wall game from the other games pack. So your UFO is at the bottom, and then when you press any key, it fires something straight up, and you have to kill whatever's up there. So it's a bit more difficult since the distance is a bit greater. So you see me missing, or you saw me missing a bit more often till I got the hang of it. And not sure there's a time limit or anything, but yeah, otherwise it's the same game principle. Not just you're shooting from a wall top down, that's very to a wall that's very close, but rather you're shooting upwards and towards yeah, other things which I have forgotten what these are supposed to be. And yeah, I'm just going to finish this without saying much, so I'll fast forward this in the video that you can see how this actually ends. Because the last ones are actually the most difficult when you really have to be precise and can't really miss uh, any. And it looks like I don't even have to fast forward because I just kept talking. There we go. And then I think I'm getting a score with the amount of tries, so 76 tries probably that I had. So that's it. So nothing new to be learned here. Next one is called Code. It had a very interesting approach. So it's a code breaker. So there is a 4-digit code that you have to guess. So I'll start with 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what the program tells me, how many numbers are in the right position. So 1 is actually in the right position, and how many numbers are part of the code, but in the wrong position. So 1 number is in the right position. That's the first one I have to find out. So let's assume 1 is in the right position. And then since let's find out whether the 2 is not part of the whole thing. So 1, 3, 4, 5. So what do I know now? I moved a correct number out of a spot. So because the right number in the right place is now 0. So maybe the 2 was in the right spot. And I also introduced one new correct number, but one thing at a time. So I'm saying 4, 2, 6, 7. Nope, the 2 isn't in the wrong number either. How about the 3? 2, 8, 3, 9. So every number only appears once. Okay, so I know the 4 is correct at the end. And 1, 3, 4, 5 was best, so I'm varying that now. So 7, 3, 5, 4. 1 correct and 1 wrong. So the 4 is fine at the end, so only down to 3. And I know it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3. So, and one of these is correct, so I'm keeping the 7. 8, 9, 4. No change. So that's a bit weird. So the 4 is correct, and I have one wrong number, and not with changing 3 and 5. I'm a bit puzzled by that, because I know it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3. And 4 is done. So 5, 6, so maybe ending a 6. 6, 7, 8, 4. One correct number and 0 wrong numbers. I'm honestly a bit lost now. So I'm trying. So 9 is maybe a number that exists. So 1, 2, 3, 9, 5 might exist. 6, 4. That was a lucky guess. So 3 numbers are correct, and the fourth one, yeah, not sure what that's supposed to be. So trying to move them around. So 6, 9, 5, 4. That wasn't that smart because I only need to change 2. So 9, 6, 5, 4. That's okay. That was what I was missing. The 0 counts as well. So you see the basic principle, and it's not that easy. I actually got it the first one, I think, within 9 or 10 tries. And I think that's an excellent inspiration for a code breaking minigame. I might not do it with 4 numbers, but at the same time, I might use some kind of variation of this. But I think the basic principles lend itself very well to a code breaking minigame that only takes 1K of space and fits the context. And it would then simply be a game path, one where the code breaking was sufficient, and one where the code breaking either didn't work or you have to try again. So that could be one of the branching paths, or that the engineering career path gets an advantage, whereas then maybe you can open a door with either firing a phaser at a certain spot or breaking the code, and then the tactical captain would use the phaser or could always use the phaser, whereas the engineering captain would have an advantage by using the code that they don't have to fire or something like that. So that's actually something where I'm rather pleasantly surprised by one of these 1K games that's actually very engaging, and I would actually play this again. I'm not going to though. So next one is Asteroids. So here it's avoiding again, and you only have one key that does something, so you're automatically veering to the right. So let's say there's a big sort of gravity source, and then you have to counterfire your engines to steer through the asteroids and otherwise use the gravity to your advantage. And yeah, so that's then this kind of game. So not sure there's much to gain from this type of game. So I shouldn't be hitting something, right? I can hit something, so I'm not sure what the purpose is. Ah, no, now I hit something. I think I can sideswipe, but I can't hit something from the front. I think that's their simplistic collision detection. So yeah, um, not that much to gain, but yeah, one interesting variation that you always veer to the right, that which simplifies the controls. So pressing any key to do something it makes at least for easy usability. So next is Bomber. So it paints now a dam, and there is the bomber, and if you fire a bomb, then it takes this weird path, and then you have to hit the dam. So it's a tiny variation on this wall firing thing that you have to calculate the angle, and that's of course not the easiest thing to do. It's a bit annoying that this takes almost as long to paint this stuff than it takes to fire, and this was almost fine. And then what it does when you hit that dam, yeah, here we go. So it moved now forward, so you have to fire earlier. Now I missed it again, and you have to start over. That's the basic principle. So I'm not sure I'm sold by that you have this artificial difficulty spike with the angle. Okay, now I nailed it. So let's try whether I can nail it again in the next try. And we have to fire past that thing. Okay, so like this, and then it moves the thing the damn bit forward, or it doesn't. I'm not sure. It was supposed to. But anyway, so yeah, I don't think this add much this artificial difficulty spike. There we go. Not sure why this was correct before and now it isn't. So same spot, and it should now move even further forward. No, no, but it just moves around every time you hit it. Okay, then that's what the plan is. That's artificial difficulty spike with having this angle adds much value in terms of gameplay, and also that the scene takes as long to render as the actual gameplay doesn't help either. Next is a Kaleidescope. Bonus points if you can type this correctly for the first time, which is not a game. It just draws some um, which you could almost call a sort of fractal, unless this is random. And yeah, that's everything's to see. So not sure there is any inspiration in that. And the last one is Guillotine. Again, bonus points if you can type this correctly if you're not French. And what this is basically is Hangman. So just to show it for completion's sake. So Sinclair as the word to guess, and then you can guess correct. So there is no E in Sinclair, so you get the first piece of the hangman. There is an S, and there is no Y, so it's simply typing stuff that you can see what the hangman looks like and what the game end is, and that's then the whole game, and that's it. You're dead, without, in this case, having guessed anything. Though you need to have two people that you have a different person typing stuff in. It could so what could be an inspiration here is maybe there is a word that's not too difficult to guess, and you only have a couple of times to get it right for the mini game. But then again, you probably, to avoid frustration, need a path after success and a path after failure instead of getting in a failure after game over, unless I really want to lean into the Nintendo hard style games of the past where just dying all the time. So I'm not sure I want to do that when it's just something random. It should rather be something sort of skill based or decision based when you fail instead of random fails. Okay, so these were all the 10 games. So I hope this was interesting, both to see uh, 10 more 1K games for the Sinclair ZX81 in action, and also my musings about what could be inspirations that I could take away for games design. And as usual, thank you for watching.